In Argentina, the grandmothers of Plaza de Mayo rejected Javier Milei's measures, adding that they endanger the country's democracy. In Venezuela, the National Assembly set the commission that will investigate the dispossession of the national company CITGO, a subsidiary of PDVSA. And in Palestine, the Israeli regime killed more than 80 civilians in their latest shelling of Gaza. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Monday, the president of the grandmothers of Plaza de Mayo, Stella de Carlotto, questioned the mega package of measures of President of Argentina, Javier Milei, and warned that it endangers the country's democracy. During a speech at the plenary session of the commission's debating the called Omnibus Law in the Chamber of Deputies, the renowned activist focused on the independence of the powers, recalling that with the president's super bill, the executive is trying to grant itself powers that do not correspond to it. In this sense, Stella de Carlotto ratified that if these reforms were to go forward, they would imply a great step backwards and a clear deterioration of acquired rights. In Argentina, workers of the National Administration of Social Security denounced that the agency suffered more than 300 unjustified dismissals throughout the country, while officials of the Ministry of Health demand payment for their overtime. The dismissed citizens were permanent employees who joined the agency between 2020 and 2023. The participants denied the justification for the dismissal expressed by the government, which affirmed the dismissed were allegedly appointed without a previous selection process. On the other hand, workers of the Health Ministry demanded at its headquarters the payment of their overtime, which represents more than 50% of their earnings. All of this in rejection of the deregulation measures taken by the government of Javier Milei against the working class. In Bolivia, legislators of the Department of Santa Cruz expect on Tuesday a response from the Departmental Third Constitutional Chamber after the claim that the temporary substitution of the imprisoned Governor Luis Fernando Camacho be complied with. In a press conference, the head of the Movement to Socialism bench, Delphi Renteria, explained that this bench demanded the head of the jurisdictional legislative chamber and Vice Governor Mario Aguilera to promote within 24 hours the substitution of the duration of Camacho's imprisonment, accused of terrorism for his participation in the 2019 coup. The highest executive authority of Santa Cruz has been preventively imprisoned since December 2022 in the maximum security prison of John Chocoro in the department of La Paz. The National Assembly of Venezuela installed on Tuesday the commission that will investigate the dispossession of the national company CITGO, a subsidiary of the state-owned company PDVSA. The commission was made up of members of Parliament of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Democratic Action, the Committee of Independent Electoral Political Organization, and the Electoral Movement of the People. The purpose of this commission, under the presidency of Congressman Pedro Infante, will be to establish the responsibilities in the embargo of this subsidiary of PDVSA in the United States. Initial calculations estimate that the losses exceed $300 million. In an exclusive interview for TeleSUR, the Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, indicated that 2023 was a year of progress for the country thanks to the fundamental support of the Venezuelan people in the defense of sovereignty and the national union.
The year 2023 was undoubtedly a year of progress in economic development, of progress in the political and social stability of Venezuela, and I believe that one of the fundamental pillars has been the national union, the spaces that were given to express the national union. And from that national union, which we saw in the overwhelming rejection of the Venezuelan people against the criminal and illegitimate sanctions, which we saw also in the national union expressed in the defense of the historical rights of Venezuela over our Guyana Esquiva, and that national union, President Maduro stands before the country, speaks to it with reality, speaks to it with support, with basis, speaks to it with the hope that the future means.
The Vice President said that despite the economic blockades imposed on the country, the people of Venezuela have remained loyal.
The sanctions persist. The blockade of our financial resources persists. More than 22 billion liquid dollars, including the 32 tons of gold that are kept in the Bank of England, proceeds. This reality has not changed, but in the context of this reality, the Venezuelan people have been able to assume a position, nor of crying, not a defeatist position, but a position where everyone has added their sacrifice, where everyone has added their commitment to the country.
The Venezuelan political leader also referred to the formulas implemented by the government to overcome the economic war faced by the country and how these will be maintained in 2024.
As from February 1st, we will increase the cesta ticket to $40 and the economy war bonus to $60. A very important increase considering that it is indexed. We maintain the audacious formulas that we are permanently monitoring. Why? What is it that interests us? That when the workers is going to acquire goods, is going to acquire services, that money that he has as a product of his work, of his effort, is not lost.
Let's take a short break now, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Those stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back from the south. The Gaza Health Ministry on Wednesday reported that at least in the last 12 hours, the Israeli occupation troops killed more than 80 Palestinians in the different areas of the Gaza Strip. On the other hand, the authorities stressed that the most of the deaths are the result of a series of raids by the Zionist regime in which numerous workers have also been kidnapped. In turn, the Palestinian authorities confirmed more than 24,400 fatalities in 103 days of genocidal operation, most of them women and children. More than 4,300 students in Palestine have been killed by Israel since it began its genocidal operation against the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. The Ministry of Education announced in a statement that 281 public schools and 65 schools affiliated to the United Nations Public Works and Relief Agency have been bombed. The agency indicated that 231 teachers were killed and more than 71 were detained in the West Bank. Teachers' unions confirmed that the Israeli attacks on schools have affected 90% of school operations, preventing children from having access to education. During a humanitarian briefing on the war between Israel and Gaza held on Tuesday in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, the Secretary General of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, Jagan Chapagan, gave some statements on the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip after more than 100 days of conflict.
What we are seeing is the healthcare crisis. Basically, the health facilities, a majority of them are not working. Even the ones who are working face, power supply, water supply, medical supply. Also, the doctors and nurses have been overworking, 24/7 in the early days. The water and food have been the other areas of major constraint. I think the food. I think you heard a number of reports also saying that some reports of saying that starvation could be coming. And the water is a major thing, and I'm sure Kitty will talk about more in detail later. The clean drinking water, basic water, is a major issue.
The serious humanitarian situation in Gaza makes some of its inhabitants manage to get money to get food and water for their families.
We brought solar energy panels to charge the cell phones. We charge a nickel for the recharge, so I can get some money for my expenses and to buy food for my children and my wife. I made these panels to help the people because our situation is very difficult, and we must support each other because we are the same people, one people. We are in a blockade. I got this idea because a man taught me, God bless him. He gave me the formula. He brought me the equipment, and I brought the energy. He supported me and I did it. So I began, and now I'm charging the cell phones to the people.
اللقمة ما كناش نقدر نلاقيها يعني. أنا نازح من قطاع غزة وشردنا على خانونس على الجنوب جينا وضربونا اليهود في خانونس.
I charge 1 shekel for each cell phone so I can survive. I am displaced from the Gaza Strip, and we came from Khan Yunis, and from there we were displaced again to Rafah. And well, an institution gave us tents, thanks God.
لما بنجيب المية طبعا بدك تمشي كيلو عشان تروح تجيب مية تشرب تغسل يعني الأمور لا تسمح يعني أنا عملت الطاقة الشمسية.
I have to walk a kilometer to drink water and wash. The situation is impossible. Since we don't have electricity to have light and to charge our cell phones, we thought of these ideas and thank God we were able to do it.
بنضوي من وراه بطارية بنضوي لدات نشحن جوالات عليه يعني الحمد لله يعني منيح ومشي أمورنا.
These panels are useful to charge batteries and to turn on a light bulb. It's good. With this energy, we're helping people to make their cell phones work in the absence of electricity.
The government of Greece reiterated its concern over the situation in Gaza and the escalation of the conflict in the Red Sea and calls again for a permanent ceasefire in the besieged area. The Greek foreign minister said that the country has consistently and systematically supported the creation of an independent Palestinian state to coexist peacefully with Israel. The top diplomat expressed that Athens is increasingly concerned about the loss of human lives, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, the conflict on the Lebanon-Israel border, and the situation in the Red Sea. In this regard, the Greek representative called on the international community to take action to ease the conflict and pointed out that they must all do what they can to provide food and medicine in the region. Afghanistan shows in mid-January that it has hardly snowed at all, a new sign of the serious effects of global warming in this Central Asian country, usually familiar with harsh winters, according to experts. The exceptionally low level of rainfall in a country that relies heavily on agriculture forced many farmers to delay planting. According to the United Nations, already in its third year of drought, Afghanistan is one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change. Members of the UN Food and Agriculture Organization flew over the country in recent days from the southern province of Helmand to Kabul. Specialists noted that in the eastern provinces of Ghazni and Paktika, only a few centimeters of snow have fallen recently, and the mountainous province of Badakhshan has just seen its first flakes this week. In France, authorities decree an orange alert in at least 18 departments due to heavy snowfall after the arrival of freezing temperatures in the country. The French Weather Service launched an alert in response to forecasts that indicate that several events will begin to occur in various parts of the country starting this Tuesday night. In a recent report, weather authorities warned about the arrival of the Operation Irene and its heavy rainfall in France in the coming hours, a phenomenon they warn will bring more snow and rain. In this sense, they call on citizens to be cautious and to respect the restrictions on vehicular movement. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. For a short break, don't go away. Welcome back from the South. China has exceeded the forecast figure for gross domestic product and amid the complex international scenario grew by 5.2% in 2023. According to the report of the National Statistics Bureau, the nation achieved a record 126.06 trillion yuan, approximately $17,712 billion last year. Kang Yi, head of the Statistics Bureau, stressed that the country was able to cope with external pressure and domestic difficulties, achieving the main targets very successfully. A GDP rate of around 5% had been forecast, which was clearly exceeded. At the time, the Central Economic Work Conference highlighted the recovery of the economy. Thousands of people rioted in the Serbian capital of Belgrade on Tuesday to protest alleged fraud committed by President Aleksandar Vucic's governing party during parliamentary and local elections last month. The rally was the latest in a string of protests following elections in December, in which Vucic's party said it secured a commanding victory. During the address to the crowd, the leading opposition figure, Marinika Tepic, also celebrated a decision by the European Parliament to discuss the situation in Serbia following the elections on Wednesday. The march comes just days after the Serbian opposition party formally lodged a complaint against alleged fraud by Vucic's party. Earlier Tuesday, a court rejected a complaint filed last week by Miodrag Gavrilovic, a Serbian MP and vice president of the Democratic Party, who is also a member of the Serbia Against Violence opposition coalition. The move followed weeks of controversy that saw thousands take to the streets following accusations of official malfeasance during the elections. On Tuesday, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard attacked several positions of Mossad-linked terrorist groups in Syria and Iraq. According to official reports, the attack came after the Islamic Guard identified meeting points of the Daesh Takfir terrorist group in occupied Syria. Iranian forces reported a second missile strike against a major command center of the Israeli spy agency Mossad in the city of Erbil, located in the Iraqi Kurdistan region. The Iranian army detailed that the operation showed the superiority of Iranian intelligence in the face of Tel Aviv's aggression in the region. According to local media, the facilities were camouflaged as residential villas with a double layer of concrete equipped with radars and listening equipment. At the Afghanistan-Pakistan border crossing, thousands of trucks were blocked on Monday at the busiest border crossing. Border crossings between the two countries have been temporarily closed in recent months after Islamabad launched a massive operation last year against undocumented Afghans living in Pakistan and tightened documentation requirements for Afghans entering the country. The Turkhan border crossing was closed to commercial vehicles on Friday night, border officials said, and as of Monday, some 3,000 trucks were stranded on both sides of the border. According to officials from both sides, Islamabad and Kabul were holding talks to solve the issue. The United Kingdom's Maritime Trade Operations Agency reported a new missile strike against a Greek cargo ship off the coast of Yemen. In a statement, the British agency reported that the vessel carrying dry bulk cargoes was attacked while transiting northbound in the Red Sea. They also detailed that the incident occurred 185 kilometers to the northwest of Yemen. The entity also alerted vessels sailing in the area to do so with caution and to keep crew members informed about any eventualities that may occur. The summit of the Non-Aligned Movement in Kampala, the capital of Uganda, will discuss the major global challenges and solidarity among its member states on the third day. Dennis Francis, President of the United Nations General Assembly, will be present at the important debates. He assures that it is essential to listen to the voice of the South at a time of unprecedented crisis. The agenda, which includes discussions on political, economic and cultural cooperation, will address the enormous global challenges, deepening relations for shared prosperity. The summit has reaffirmed the independent nature of an interest in echoing the aspirations of developing nations. Worldwide, the number of adults who use tobacco has been falling steadily in recent years. According to data released on Tuesday by the World Health Organization, by 2022, 1 in 5 adults worldwide will be smoking or using other tobacco products, compared with 1 in 3 in 2000. The report revealed that 150 countries managed to reduce consumption. Although the number of smokers is decreasing in most countries, WHO warned that tobacco-related diseases may remain high for some years. The organization estimates that tobacco currently kills more than 8 million people a year, including 1.3 million so-called passive smokers exposed to secondhand smoke. The document indicates that countries that implement strict controls against tobacco may wait about 30 years for the prevalence rate to reverse before seeing a drop in the number of tobacco-related deaths. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on our social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.